Hello everyone. In this video, we will continue to examine topic 7.3, the structure of matter, and in particular, we will discuss very briefly the Higgs boson. All right, so how do we know all this stuff? Well, since roughly the 1940s, our most fundamental physics experimental work has been done in particle accelerators. Particle accelerators are instruments that are designed to take streams of particles and run them into each other at high energies and velocities and to detect what comes out. The most famous of them at the moment, the most important one, and the place where most of our or the place where our most advanced elementary particle theories and evidence are coming from is the Large Hadron Collider located in Geneva at CERN in Switzerland. It is the LHC is not the first of its kind, but it is the biggest of its kind, and it is a massive particle accelerator that sends protons and antiprotons into collisions at 7 tera electron volts to see what particles are emitted. A description of what happens and its relationship to fundamental physics, what happens at CERN and its relationship to fundamental physics can be found at this video down here, this particular YouTube link, which I would highly suggest watching. But the important thing you need to know is that in 2012, the Higgs boson was confirmed. This was a hypothetical boson that was predicted by the Standard Model and has been described as the most important single confirmation of what we think of as a Standard Model of particle physics. This is something that had been predicted and then was discovered at sufficiently high energies. Now, without going into huge amounts of detail here, the Higgs boson is not a gauge boson that is related to any of the other forces, nor is it the graviton, but it is related to mass. The Higgs field is said to be a scalar spin-zero field, which gives the other particles, including the W and Z bosons, their mass. And particular, it had a little bit mystified theorists for a while why the W and Z bosons did have mass and were therefore so short-ranged. And the Higgs field that Peter Higgs predicted, and I think the mid-60s, I can verify that date, but in I think the mid-60s, is the field that all the other particles interact with that gives them their mass. And the Higgs boson is simply a gauge boson that exists as an excitation of that field. It is a very high-energy event, and so what that means is you have to comb through massive amounts of data from the LHC itself to find it, to discover it. It's worth noting that experimental work at this level is really just a shockingly team and international effort. There is no single person who understands the workings of all aspects of the LHC all the way up to the theory in their entirety. They simply don't exist. So some have described sort of the discovery of the Higgs boson and the work being done at CERN as the most impressive, or at least most collaborative human scientific experiment. And there are different opinions on that. But each paper will have up to hundreds of authors. And the most important papers to come out of the groups examining data at the LHC have, thousands of authors. There are at least thousands of people who made significant inputs to the experiments that led to these results. It's really an achievement. And my only last little plug here is that when I taught in Switzerland, which I did for 5 years, it happened to be during the 2 years when the LHC shut down so it could ramp up its energy. And as a result, this is me in CMS, which was one of the 4 major detectors at the LHC. I was very excited. I actually have a picture of my class at that point as well, but this is just me. And you can see sort of the general scale. So a person would be about this tall, and this is the detector that lies. So when it's active, the particles are sort of going through this detector and colliding in this detector, and the detector is keeping track of, what happens when those particles collide. It's really an astounding machine.